What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yield Today with Dallin, Candland, talking about helping out your future self along the way, because life is not getting any easier, and it's really important that we have a plan and that we stick with that plan, that we also have these conversations with ourselves, kind of like what me and AJ talked about in the last episode about crucial conversations. It's going to be another one of those quick 6-minute episodes. Definitely follow the podcast if it is helpful for you. We'll be dropping a lot more good stuff in the near future. So we're going to be talking about side projects, health, and work, and kind of investing in each of those little things a little bit at a time. So first of all, let's just go with side projects. Working on this podcast, it takes a little bit of work. It takes time, but I really try to keep in mind this long-term perspective that this is something I want to have going on for a long time, and it's important that I put in these little reps early on, and we're passing 60 episodes, and that's great, but it's important that I'm learning a ton along the journey along with those numbers, and so I'm trying to make as much impact quickly as possible, learning as much as possible, and so putting out an episode, reaching out to a guest, all these different things, they add up over time. You know, I've done probably 20-ish interviews this year, and each of those people is a potential relationship. And if I do that many next year, and I'm also on a bunch of podcasts, that opens up the door for many future opportunities. And this is blessing my future self. You want to bless your future self. There have been times I've really kind of cursed my future self a little bit, like by staying up really late. There's one day this semester, I don't know why, just shows how powerful, like, when you get stuck into something. I played Pokemon pretty much all night while watching like YouTube videos about growth and stuff, and it's just it's super easy to get into these ruts, and that's not helping your future self. It gives yourself something you have to bounce back from. You think of time as something you're investing or you're wasting. I mean, I would say even if you're resting, of course that's like investing your time a little bit. That's helping your future self out. But if you're just kind of scrolling through social media, I've done that before. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't restore your system. It doesn't really help anything. I don't know why. It's just like this, you're like literally moving this slot machine and nothing, you know? So yeah, you don't want that, but doing those little bits at a time, really gonna add up. And I have not even seen this so much yet, but it's definitely gonna get there once we throw in like the blog and other stuff. Is all just kind of build up one another. Number 2 is health. I think of how old I'm gonna be, and I want to live to be pretty old. Not like super old, but pretty old. And I want to have like good health. I want to have good sleep habits. I want to have good eating habits. I want to have good exercise habits. And I had those 3 things when I was in high school with doing track. It was kind of my keystone habit, was running track. That went to every part of my identity. And that blessed my life a ton. But, you know, if you don't keep those things up, you know, things are going to fall out of balance. And over time, you're going to trend towards becoming a more lazy and whatever person. And so it's really important that you are aware of how much you're growing and how much you're regressing. You know, I've been keeping track of how fast I ran at the beginning of this year and now, and it's pretty much the same because there's been different times I haven't been as consistent and everything like that. But it's important that you're aware of this. Lately, I've been doing a better job of improving my sleep habits. And, you know, that's a small win, but adds up to other wins, and it gives you more time, of course, and more peace of mind. And when you have more peace of mind, you're able to just get a lot more done, I think. And so it just really compounds and helps a lot if you can nail that and just think of like your future self, what you want to look like, what you want to be doing, and do those things that your future self would be doing. It's like a fast example. It's like, would my future self want to look at these video games that aren't going to be, nobody's going to really care about them in 5 years? Or should I just go to bed? And it's kind of like Stephen Jones' quote, really cool quote. He had a really cool talk called "Is This Going to Matter in 1,000 Years?" Or the talk was called like "One Important Question to Ask Yourself." And it was like, is this going to matter in 1,000 years? And that's honestly a really good quote, because like, you know, studying scriptures, reading books, building skills, that's all gonna matter for a pretty long time. Definitely more than some of the more marginal activities. And another thing too, it's all about embracing the long game and appreciating the long game, appreciating the process. It's hard to do that, but you got to do that. Going along with that is just work. And if you want to have, kind of goes along with the podcast, honestly, because I could see myself working for somebody that I had on my podcast or doing some other kind of work with them because it opens the door. It's important that you are investing in your colleagues, you're investing in yourself. So you're kind of going above and beyond. It's not like just what you're asked to do, but you're also trying to do a little bit more and just see how you can improve as an employee and kind of keep it in the long-term perspective again, because you don't want to just be limited to what you can offer as far as your job description. You want to go beyond that as well. You want to deliver value outside that so you can have that pattern. It really helps to develop those patterns early. I'm sure if Lee was here, he'd talk about how that's creating patterns of possibility for your life for sure. And you want to have all these patterns playing in your favor. And a great way to do that is to just make those little steps today. So I would recommend just don't try to push yourself too much. Just do a little bit at a time, but it'll definitely add up. And the future comes one day at a time. So just be patient. That's what my cousin Clark would say. Future comes one day at a time. So with that all said, hopefully this episode was helpful for you in some way. We just talked about side projects, health, and work, and how you put in little bits of effort over time. It really adds up. So thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to yield today, and it'll be a better tomorrow. I don't know, is that good enough?